Is your bed potentially making you sick? The answer could be yes. Do you wake up in the morning with headaches? Do you wake up in the morning feeling groggy, stiff, swollen? Sometimes your face feels puffy, legs are puffy. And does it take usually maybe 4 to 6 hours before you start feeling better from that puffiness and the achiness? And you notice if you travel, you go places that you don't notice it, or if you travel, you do notice it. My wife and I right now are actually in Florence, and she woke up this morning feeling horrible. She was stiff, she was achy, she was puffy. She feels like she's gained a bunch of weight, just not feeling good. And she's like, oh, we're sleeping on a certain type of bed. We're actually sleeping on a memory foam bed. That's really interesting. These kind of beds actually are filled full of a lot of forever chemicals. These include solvents. So a lot of these foam mattresses are actually made of different plasticizers. And we sleep really close to them. There's actually a lot of interesting data on how that they off-gas, particularly people with multiple chemical sensitivity, which my wife unfortunately does have, can actually be affected by sleeping on these beds. So if you ever notice when you travel sometimes, you feel cruddy, feel achy, sometimes people blame it on the food they're eating, maybe drinking a little more wine, maybe not sleeping quite as well, maybe you got a little constipated, but something to think about, it could potentially be you're feeling cruddy or achy because of the bed you're sleeping on. I've had multiple patients deal with chronic health issues, health concerns, not able to really figure out what was going on, clean their house, remove the mold, clean chemicals, change their diet, do a bunch of stuff, and eventually realize that part of their health thing was they're actually getting massive chemical exposures every night when they slept. And then one of the beauties of AI these days is you can actually take AI and plug this kind of stuff in, get a lot of interesting data on exposures for different solvents, petroleum-based chemicals, which are typically what you see in memory foam. So is this something you're dealing with? It's a good question. Do you notice that when you go on vacation and the beds are memory foam, you feel more cruddy? If you have a memory foam at home, it makes it kind of difficult to kind of help delineate this because you're being exposed every night when you sleep. So something to think about. What I want to talk about next is when you travel and go to places, if you notice yourself feeling kind of achy and cruddy, having brain fog, and if you do get exposed to chemicals, another thing to think about as well when you travel, as a lot of different places will use really toxic chemicals. This is something else that my wife has, Becky has issues with, is when we travel, a lot of the hotels or places, they'll use these really toxic chemicals. And after a day being somewhere, she'll wake up foggy, achy, super fatigued. And she used to deal with chronic fatigue horribly. And they'll get triggered when we travel due to this chemical exposure. So if you travel and you get exposed to more foam bed or just general cleaning chemicals, what are things you can do to actually help detoxify? That's what I want to talk about next, but this is something that happens a lot. And people usually blame the diet, they usually blame the environment, maybe even mold, and they also don't realize it's just the chemicals, clean chemicals that cleaning staff use, or just simply the fact that they have a memory foam pillow or memory foam bed. So I want to talk about next is how do you actually treat that if you're traveling to kind of get through traveling, get back home, to get better and get back in your environment. Take care, talk to you soon.